right if you direct your attention to the shirt that I'm currently wearing. It says, "Without trucks, Australia stops." Think about it, just in case you didn't. Another opportunity to do so. That is how important that message is, as is camera stability, apparently. But we are doing Mechanics Confess Their Sins. Why are we doing it? Because mechanics wouldn't leave me alone! They apparently say that they've got amazing stories about, I don't know, whatever, pistons and shit. I don't know what they do in there. Some little mystery box that you open up, your wizards that went to TAFE. So I got mechanics to send in their stories, crazy customers, what is a piston? All those questions might be answered. As always, I don't look at these comments beforehand. We all learn together, don't we?
Gold Coast show tonight. Get your tickets at friendlyjordies.com. Also Melbourne next week.
Anonymous, please.
What's in it for Jimmy's?
But used to be an apprentice boat mechanic, and we were servicing this flash cabin cruiser when I found a big bag of Charlie below deck. Okay, yeah, so the rich like Charlie's charcoal chicken just like the rest of us. We are very lucky that both YouTube is extremely strict on demonetization within the first 30 seconds and that nothing demonetization worthy just happened then. La 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 la. I showed my boss and he goes, "Yeah, look, this is no comment." Yeah, I mean, come on. Like any fuckwit on a boat is going to have bags of coke. They're probably importing it.
Well, how else do I afford the repayments on this boat, eh?
Before he sneakily put about a gram into a Ziploc from a big bag and put it back where he found it. It's just the classic finding the wallet on the street. They're not going to notice this 10. I then found out that weekend he did drugs for the first time ever with the mystery coke and ended up fucking a stripper and ruining his marriage. Whoa, that's a kids don't do drugs. If I ever heard one, that was a very steep decline. His wife took the kids and he's currently on and off dating said stripper. I'm sure that one's going to work out, and still fixing boats. Great dude, medium husband, medium. What's low tier for you? I'd really like to see anonymous reviews, marriages, the tier list. My mate runs a muffler repair place. It usually has custies. Holy fuck. You know that most people graduated from TAFE in a job when they use the word custies. Drop their car or truck off the night before. One day he went to bring a car into the garage to work on it when he saw something move inside of it, and so he jumped back.
Holy fuck. Was it our ghost? Ghost in the Shell, Australia remake.
Upon going back to look inside, he found multiple chickens. Jesus fucking Christ, this is the Flintstones. Is that how it's getting powered?
Well, there's your problem. See, this is why this isn't a flying car.
Both him and the Custy. Custy, it sounds like you're a little baby. I want my Custy. Had no clue where the chickens came from, but they made one heck of a mess. They ended up just letting the chickens out, and they disappeared into a nearby, and that was just the end. Okay, all right. God, I would love to see those chickens in an episode of Where Are They Now? I care so much more about those chickens than the guy that used to host Sale of the Century, and I care about that guy a lot. Also, very similar to the first story, Charlie's charcoal chicken in both stories. Isn't that great? Yeah, and an Adeptus Mechanicus player here. Yes, okay, so we're not looking for people who pretend they're mechanics, mate. My horror story was when I dropped my tech priest Dominus, resulting in the servo scope. You guys always have to figure out a way of sneaking in Warhammer content, don't you? Well, may I just say, much like many of the games you play in Games Workshops.
Well played.
Anyway, that's enough Warhammer for now. On to the next actual mechanic. Here to chime in for each and every mechanic. Has you ever had a person drive up to the shop and ask to put some air in a flat tire? That would be so fucking infuriating. Then again, though, I'm sure mechanics every time say, yeah, no, it's expensive to do, though. Quote you 500. I didn't know it'd be so expensive. Yeah, well, it's not like air grows on trees. But the tyre is completely shredded, even if it's on the rim at all. That's amazing. My favourite one was a woman who pulled in as my dad and I were shutting down the shop. We were just locking up, and we hear the grinding as she pulls up with one rear wheel completely bare and sparks flying off it as she comes into a stop. That does sound like something that you just have to deal with all the time. Oh, jeez, it's closing time. My dad talks to her and is like, oh, do you need a spare tyre to get you home? And she keeps insisting, no, it just needs some air. Put some air in it. I don't have money for a tyre. God, how annoying would she be in a hot air balloon that's crashing? There's a hole in the balloon. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to inform you, this is the end. No, just put some air in it. They go back and forth until she sees the pull rope we use to close the bay doors on the ground and demands we use that to inflate her tyre. I don't think she knows what air is. Dad and I talk for a second and we just decide to go. How do you go with that? Fuck, you guys shouldn't be mechanics. You should be improv masters working on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Luckily, I can't whistle for shit. Oh my God. You guys are masters of theatre. And my attempts at whistling sound enough like trying to put air in a tyre that she bought it. My dad told her, test drive in the lot, and obviously there's still no tyre. She pulls up and goes, oh, I guess it won't hold air anymore. Thanks anyways. And floors it out of the parking lot. Oh, okay, so that's the car they used in Waterworld, is it? Still don't know what's scarier, that she might be driving or that she might vote. Well, we all know if she was a New Zealand citizen how she'd be voting. Ah, the guy that used to be CEO of Air New Zealand. Finally, someone that knows something about air. My girlfriend's ex was a mechanic in New Zealand, so instead of there being chuckins in the bonnet, there was kiwi birds. About 6 months after he broke up with her, he had a car fall on his head and almost died. How did he almost die? I thought that is just a death sentence. Needed to be airlifted and whatnot. Didn't die. He just lost a decent chunk of memory, and I think he forgot how the breakup went down, and now constantly messages my girlfriend like they're mates, and he didn't crush her soul like he crushed his head. You know that old saying of like, that guy needs some sense beaten into him. He's turned into a better boyfriend when he had brain damage. He's harmless because he's from New Zealand and she's too kind to stop talking to him, so she just gives him a dismissive stream of Facebook Messenger thumbs up to all his messages because she feels bad. Well, I hope she keeps the trend going. And I'd be very appreciative of that if everyone did this to this video. Isn't that weird? Social relationship, this is the worst response you could get. Parasocial relationship, you can't get any better than that. That gets my personal thumbs up. It's becoming a running gag, and I'm invested in it now. Aren't we all? That has every element of a soap opera in that it's some guy being like, I've got amnesia. And then, because they have so many plot lines about amnesia, the writers tend to get amnesia because they keep writing more plot lines about amnesia. Aircraft mechanic here. Is that what you guys are called? I thought you'd be called something like helicopter nurse. Whenever a part gets damaged, we have to document how it was damaged, torn, cut, snapped, etc. My favorite code is damaged by a semi-solid foreign object. Bird. Why is every profession where guys look like cops always like, in the current positioning of said aircraft in question, one of the compartments was loosely fitted and there was a subsequent unideal outcome? Oh, okay, so a bag fell out of the overhead. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Correct. I had to write a 6-hour report on that. And bird, yep, that is yet another Charlie's Charcoal Chicken related mechanic story. Put that up on the cluck counter. The cluck counter was extemporaneously created. I don't think it's coming back. Had a lady complain that the aircon was making the car smell. When I went to get in, the smell was so overpowering that I started gagging and dry heaving. Oh, no, it's going to be a gross one. Let's rewind. The sales staff came out to see what the commotion was and caught a whiff and proceeded to spew out. Jesus Christ, that must have been so gnarly. None of us could be in the car for more than 10 seconds. We ended up finding the cause of the smell, which turned out to be both of the woman's cats, whose bloated bodies had been decomposing / baking in the 40-degree summer sun the past 2 weeks. Why is everyone's car in Australia Old Mother Hubbard's house? Also, will this turn out to be yet another Charlie's Charcoal Chicken story where you open up the cat and like a medieval feast, out pops chickens? When we told her, she said, oh yeah, I know they're in there. I just can't bring myself to say goodbye to them. So did you fix the aircon? Look, I know the phrase cat lady is bandied around a lot these days, but really, how else would that woman describe herself? I'm a grey nomad with an interest in mummification. My friend always tells this story from when he did work experience at a motorbike mechanic shop. This dude farted so loud and says, bit more choke and she would have started. Yeah. Nice. In the most bogan, loud voice imaginable, inspiring. Truly inspiring. See, there's something just in our inner Australian when we hear that story and we think, yeah, well, if there's ever a version of 8 out of 10 cats, I know that one of the permanent panelists is obviously going to be the cat lady. That explains the 2 missing cats. And of course, this guy, Quick Wit. I used to be an apprentice at my local garage for scraps. Back then, I was a skinny lad, and I had laid my arm on the lift holding the car. My teacher raised the lift, trapping my arm between the car and the lift, saw me suspended midair, and got all the other employees to rip off my overalls and left me there for a couple of minutes. That was awesome, dude. I was expecting that story to end with you being, we can rebuild him, the $6 million man. And instead it just ended with you having no pants. The boss was out test driving a car. Me, a monkey-brained apprentice, and the only other mechanic were doing a service on a BMW M5. He said,
Hey bro, listen to what it sounds like when you set up launch control.
I got out my phone immediately and started filming. He started revving it, and I started laughing with all the pops and bangs. But then he let off the brake too far and immediately proceeded to accelerate into the shop roller door, putting a BMW-sized dent in it and smashing the front of the car in. He jumped out of the car, yelled at me to delete the video, and ran off like an escaped convict. He didn't even take his car. I never saw him again, but I did get to take a bunch of his tools, which was good. People are scavengers. Just like the last guy. Quick, he's in a vulnerable position. Pants him. I'm taking his undies home. Then this guy, what the hell, like, what is happening with you people? Oh, so it's just on the lam for the rest of his life.
They'll fucking catch me, bro.
Just in Lebanon right now.
Do you have any experience as a mechanic?
Oh, cuz, tons of experience, believe me.
The business went bankrupt about a month later. I'm sure that must have had something to do with that. I mean, I know that mechanics are running on a razor-thin margin, a BMW. And so a month later, I had to find another job. Look, I know this is asking a lot, but please, can you send us that footage if you didn't end up deleting it? And if you did delete it, why? Because I think that man has bigger problems than seeking vengeance on you. Anyway, that concludes Tales from the Planet of Mechanicus Adeptus. It honestly was a lot more interesting than I thought it would be, so well done to you guys. Especially the guy that was pants. Hope you found them. So, now what we're doing, because we do polls on Patreon and they suggest what we are going to do as videos, as a little choose your own adventure that you can be part of if you sign up to Patreon, and they came up with this not brilliant suggestion. It's not going to be anywhere near as fruitful as you think it is. Political staffers confess their sins. They have many, but they aren't going to be confessing them, I can tell you. They're going right to the grave with those. But just in case, prove me wrong, kids. Here's the Proton email account. You can remain very anonymous down there. I know you won't, but there it is. So let's just go with something that I know is going to get at least one comment. Let's aim for that, shall we? Taxi drivers, confess your sins. We are getting hounded by the masses for that because who'd have guessed, little less niche. And we're also going to make it even less niche by including Uber drivers. You get your own little addendum here, just like at the airport, off in the corner with you. So, write them down, give us your stories. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of poop in the back seat of a bunch of 21-year-old cheese going running out. The question is, how many? Let's find out together.